Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Richard's Legendary Garage. So, in this episode, I'm going to be doing a hydraulic clutch system refresh. So, basically, last time I drove the car, the clutch pedal just kind of went down to the floor and didn't come back up. So, that typically means that there's an issue with the clutch master cylinder, the clutch slave cylinder. Maybe there's fluid, that has drained out or evaporated out of the system. So one way or the other, something needs my attention on the clutch system. I did when I got out of the car. I did check, and there is no fluid in here. Well, in the reservoir. I think there's some further down in the line. But so over the course of this video, or maybe series of episodes, I haven't decided yet. Basically what I'm going to be doing is removing the clutch master cylinder, which is down below this canister here. This is the reservoir for it. I'm going to be removing the damper. I'm going to be removing all of the lines that go down to the transmission. And then also removing the slave cylinder that's on the transmission. So in preparation for this project, I have gone ahead and gotten a variety of different things. I had just an old used master cylinder and slave cylinder from a parts car I parted out. The slave cylinder looks like it's in decent condition, so I bought a rebuild kit for it. This master cylinder is, as you can see, is very corroded. So I don't know, it may not be in great condition, but just in case, I bought a rebuild kit for it as well. I think I got both of these on eBay. Also, you can use Honda Prelude slave cylinders. They're just a little bit different in orientation, which I'll show you guys once I take it out of the bag, but that's an option for me. Some people utilize the components inside of this one and put it in their Legend one, so I may do that, or I may use the rebuild kit, not sure yet. If I don't use this used master cylinder, I've got a centric clutch master cylinder here, brand new in the box. I could also potentially rebuild the one that's in the car. So again, I'm not really sure yet, as I get started on this project, exactly which direction I'm going to go. But I will be rebuilding these components, and then after removing that damper and the lines associated with the damper, I'm going to go back with this stainless steel braided line made by Paragon Performance. So that should give me a nice crisp, firm clutch feel once I get done with this project. So excited to get to work. First thing I'm going to do is jack up the front of the car using the center point here in the front, put it on jack stands, and start looking into what all needs to be removed for me to access what I need to access. So I think that this canister is going to have to come out to get access down into here. I'm also going to have to go in the car and disconnect the master cylinder from the clutch pedal, and then also have to get under the car to get access to the slave cylinder, which is on the side of the transmission. So let me get the car up on the jack stands, let me look around, come up with a game plan, and I'll start recording again after that. So instead of jack stands, I went ahead and invested in some these race ramps. Pretty nice, high quality product. These are like a high density foam, basically, so they're really lightweight. These are a 10-inch rise, so I was able to jack the car up enough here in the garage to just kind of be able to slide these under the wheels and then lower back down onto the race ramps. So, you know, a lot safer than using the jack stands. So anyways, got down here, I'll take you down under. So down under here, let's see, I'll try to get a good shot of this. So what we have is the Y pipe coming up to, on the Type 2 motors, we've got pre-cats up here. And so this is the Y pipe that goes down. On the Y pipe, there's this little bracket that I ended up just removing on this side to be able to give myself a little bit more space to work. Again, this is kind of hard to show, but basically there is a sheet metal cover over the slave cylinder there. It has 3 10mm bolts holding it in. 2 of them are easily accessible, so I took those out. The third one is kind of on top of the slave cylinder, and to be honest, I have no idea how to get to that with all this stuff in here. I mean, maybe if you take out the Y pipe and the pre-cat, you get better access, but I'm trying not to do all that. So took out the 2 10mm that I could reach and just kind of bent the sheet metal shield out of the way. So now we have the slave cylinder there. The slave cylinder is held in by 2 12mm bolts right here into the side of the transmission. So I removed those. And now I've got, so this whole thing is free now. It's free and it's just kind of hanging on by the fluid line, the hydraulic fluid line going up to the engine bay. I've read on the forums that you should be able to reach that line, the nut on the end of the line, with a wrench to take it off and to drain the fluid. But again, space is really tight in here. Not really sure if I'm going to be able to do that. So what I'm going to try to do is disconnect the line up in the engine bay and then drop this whole slave cylinder down through this gap along with the line itself, and just kind of pull it all out through the bottom here together as an assembly. So let me go back up top and disconnect some of the bolts and things and see see if that works, and I'll check back in with y'all here in a minute. So what I ended up doing is there's this bracket right here. Sorry for the light. There's a bracket right here that has a 10mm, I think it is, maybe an 8, sorry, can't remember which, bolt that I took out. And then the line actually goes, and there's another bracket right over here, another bolt that I took out. So once I took both of those out, there's enough slack in this line that you can kind of let it drop, because it's a flexible line. There's a section of flexible line, so I could let the line drop down and the slave cylinder drops out. There's enough room to finagle it out of the bottom of the car, and that way I can unhook the hydraulic line from the slave cylinder now underneath the car with plenty of room. There it is, hanging out down there. So I'm going to disconnect that, let the fluids drain, then I'll come back up here, and there's another bracket right here that has to come out, and then this hard line over to here with this bracket on the damper take that out, and then right down to the master cylinder bracket, there'll be a little nut right here to take out. So that's what I believe is the easiest way to get all this out. So update y'all after this is done. Okay, so everything's out. I did exactly what I just explained, taking out this bracket, took out the disconnected the hard line that was coming across here to the damper, disconnected it at the damper, and after removing the slave cylinder from down below, got this off, let the fluid drain out, and then I was able to just kind of pull the whole clutch line out from the top here. You know, just have to wiggle it out underneath the fuel filter and all this stuff. So I was able to get all the hard lines and that flexible section all out as one piece. Removed the damper and removed the line that goes down here to the clutch master cylinder. So everything's out except for the master cylinder. So the next thing I did, so the bolts, or sorry, the nuts, I guess, for the master cylinder are in the driver footwell. So the next thing I did was came over here and started out by taking out the footrest that sits here. And then once I got that footrest out, I started looking around, and I can see now why I'm losing fluid. So you can see all this black grime right here. That's the clutch fluid. And let's see if I can get a good view of this. Well, here. So in order to clean this up, I removed this side panel. Before you remove that side panel, you have to remove this piece, and then took the side panel, the fuse box cover panel out. So you can see that grime there. That's pretty gross. And then you look up in here further. Let's see if I can get a good view on it. There we go. I think you can kind of see that. So right here is the interior part of the clutch master cylinder, where it hooks to the pedal and goes through the firewall. I think you can see probably some of that nasty grime and stuff. So evidently what happened was the seal here on the master cylinder went bad, allowing the fluid to actually drain, you know, essentially into the car. So to the next steps are going to be to take out this nut, and then there's another nut way up in here. It's going to be kind of difficult to get to, but take those two out, pull the master cylinder out from the engine bay side, and I'm going to clean up in here as best I can. And then, you know, I'll start rebuilding these guys or replacing them. So check back in with y'all shortly. So now that we have all of the components removed from the car, here on my workbench, I've got the master cylinder that came from the white coupe. And over here you see the other master cylinder I showed you earlier, the one that was really corroded around here and actually rusted in here. I went ahead and you know, took that one apart, disassembled this one, sort of for practice, but also just to see, you know, if I might be able to clean it up enough to rebuild this one in addition to that one. And to be honest with you, I think it is going to clean up nicely. It might not. The inside of the cylinder here does have some gunk stuff stuck on it, but I do have a potential solution to clean that up. I'll get to that in a minute. But anyways, as you can see, the master cylinder here is going to come apart into all these different pieces, and essentially the rebuild kit that I'm going to use, it replaces this guy with this guy. Hopefully it works. Looks like it's the same diameter and all. But before we get to that, I want to show you guys kind of how I took this apart. So first thing I did, I'll hold on to the top of this. And with a screwdriver, just loosen that up. Hold on to the top of this. Loosen that up. So I should be able to remove this hose from each of these. Now from here, you can take this bolt out and you can remove this bracket. And if yours is like mine, it's a little bit rusted. So what I did was I took my Dremel tool. Let's see, where is it? There's my Dremel tool. And I cleaned up a little bit of the rust on here, on that one. On the other one, went ahead and cleaned up some of the rust. And took some of my rust encapsulator from Eastwood and resprayed this. It's nice black. It'll look really good when I put it back on the car. After you remove the bracket, you can take the cap off, clean out the inside of the reservoir, get it all nice and clean, no gunk left over. I carefully removed the gasket here on the cap, and then cleaned the cap, put the gasket back on here. So you can do that on your own. Don't think I need to go into any more detail on that. So then the next thing you need to do to start taking this apart, if yours is like mine, let's go ahead and get some of this nastiness off of here. What you're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, is clean off enough of this gunk to find so there's going to be a snap ring right inside of here. It sits right down, and then a lip right here. So you need some snap ring pliers. I found some with a 90-degree bend was the best. And you gotta come down in here and work this snap ring out. So as is typical with snap rings, I was having trouble, just holding on to it while pulling it out. So I put this in my vise over here. I was able to use the snap ring pliers with one hand and a little screwdriver with the other one to sort of pry this out. So once the snap ring is pried out, this assembly comes out. There's like a washer here, snap ring, the boot, and then this is the part that connects to the pedal inside the car. So that'll come apart. And then you're left with this piece. So let's see. Use this probably and show y'all. So inside of here is the piston that goes inside of the cylinder. And basically you just need to get this out of there. So doing a little bit of research online, most people just recommend blowing some compressed air in here and it should just pop this out. So on this one, it was very corroded. There was some rust. It was very stuck in there. Took a lot of careful working that piston back and forth, trying to clean out the gunk. And then, this hole is connected to that hole inside here. So when you try to blow compressed air in here, it's going to come out here. So the best thing I found was to remove this nipple. Remove this nipple. There's a little washer on it, so don't lose that washer. Set it aside. And first thing I did on that one was I used some brake parts cleaner and really just tried to clean up the inside of this the best I could. Get some of that built up gunk and debris out of here. Once I got it cleaned up real good, I went to the hardware store. You might have this at your house, but this is a 8mm or M8, I guess, with a 1.0 thread pitch screw with some Teflon tape. And I put that in here, tighten it down. All the way. So we're basically just plugging this hole up.
Hello.
So once I got that M8 by 1.0 screw set down in here, plugging up this hole, what I did was on this one was got my air compressor and put one of these little kind of rubber tips on it, and get a nice tight seal right down in here and pop it. You can see how that blows that cylinder out. So let's see if that's enough to grab. If not, if it doesn't blow it out all the way, maybe you can get some pliers or something like that. Goal here obviously is not to damage anything while you're doing this. So I'm going to have to do is kind of work this back and forth. It's hard to do all in one shot. But on this one I had to work it back and forth. Eventually it just popped right out. So let me do that and I'll come right back. All right, so for this one, let's see. What I ended up having to do I put it in my vise over here. And I grabbed a hold of the piston with vice grips. And I just kind of worked it back and forth a little bit until this whole assembly came out. So obviously by doing that, you know, I've kind of damaged, let's see, kind of damaged the tip of this a little bit. But you know, hopefully the replacement fits like it's supposed to, and I don't need to reuse any of this. If I do need to reuse this, I kind of screwed myself. Where am I? There we go. So we'll see. But now you have the master cylinder body. Take this bolt out. So this is now it's just a plain hunk of metal. I'm able to clean this up real nice. I got this, which again, this piece right here threads in, so you can unscrew it and it'll come apart into 3 pieces like I have here. This is a piece, this is a piece. So everything's been taken apart now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend some time, like I said, cleaning all this stuff up, painting it if you need to paint it. And then the last thing I wanted to show you guys was what I saw on the internet. Which I got on Amazon. But this is called a brake cylinder honing tool. So these are 2 little stones, honing stones on here. And this just goes into your handheld drill. And basically, to clean the inside of this bore, you know, you don't want to enlarge the bore at all, but you do want to kind of clean the inside of it, make sure it's a nice smooth surface. So the recommendation that I've seen and what I'm about to do and test out on that one first before I do it on this one, because this one's a little bit better condition overall, you know, better starting point. But basically what I've read is use a little bit of brake fluid as your lubricant. And you stick this down in there and you run your drill, and this should clean out the inside of this bore. Once that's clean, you're going to take your new piston with a new seal, lube it up, put it right back down in here, and rebuild it. So let me work on cleaning these up. I might use my parts washer I've got and clean all these parts together. Try to make the outside of this look a little nicer. And then I'll check back in with you guys once everything's clean and I'm reassembling. Okay, so I have the master cylinder parts in the ultrasonic cleaner. Just trying to clean up those parts as best as possible. While that's going on, hopefully the noise isn't too loud while that's going on, I'm going to take care of disassembly of the slave cylinder. So this is the one that came off of the white car, the white coupe, and then this is the extra one that I had laying around. So I went ahead and very carefully just remove this rubber piece off of here. And this plunger, whatever you want to call it, comes out with that. So you can pull them apart. Okay, and this is the bleeder screw, which I took out. And then again, once you look down inside here, you have the piston that moves as you press the clutch pedal, which pushes this in and out, which controls, the clutch on the transmission. So same deal as before. The recommendation is to put a little bit of compressed air in here and try to pop this piston out. So what I'm going to use is actually the bleeder screw. I'm going to put that back in, and to plug up this hole, and I'm going to try the same method. Let's see if this works. Hopefully it will. There you go. So it pops right out. While I'm at it, go ahead and give this one a shot. Actually, what I like to do is first make sure I have a little bit of movement, make sure it's not seized in there. So I'm just going to use the parts and shooting juice all over the garage here. Cover this up. So again, just kind of making sure. Obviously I hadn't drained this one all the way yet, but making sure that I've got movement in here. Ooh. All that brake fluid, hydraulic fluid coming out here. But let's see, let me drain this the rest of the way out so this doesn't get too messy. Set that to the side. Again, let me grab the air compressor. Let's see what happens here. Boom. Pops right out. So now that I've got these bodies, cleared out, everything removed from them, I'm going to actually throw these in the parts washer with everything else. Same deal as before. The rebuild kit comes with a new spring and a new, piston, I guess you would call it. And I'm going to use the same honing tool to sort of, make sure the inside of this is clean and smooth. And I'll check back in with you guys as soon as everything's clean and I start, reassembling everything.